Mass's part-time enrollment request.
Mrs. Markle has received two requests within the last 2 weeks from St. Thomas families to enroll at Fox River on a part-time basis for math. We don't have a policy on that, and because of the different implications, both policy, enrollment-wise, and politically in the community, I thought I would bring it to committee for discussion. At one point, there was a part-time open enrollment possibility, but the state legislature dropped part-time open enrollment. So basically, the question that we need feedback from the committee on is, are you open or receptive to us hosting these youngsters for math? Is it limited at math, or could it be art, could it be FIAT, could it be science, I mean, whatever. And if that is the case, we would probably need to put policy into place, and that's what the draft of that extra policy in your packets was for, from the WASD database as far as elementary and middle school taking on part-time enrollment. The caveat that I would just point out to committee members is that state law changed in December where schools need to do that for homeschool kids, okay? But there wasn't anything for parochial schools. So that, I don't want to say that's a loophole necessarily in the law, but it's something that the law is silent on. Right now, we're not obligated to educate them because they are at St. Thomas. But like I said for just a couple minutes ago, this really needs to be a discussion at the committee level and eventually the board. Was there anything that you wanted to add?
No, I think you covered it all. Two parents requesting that they're, one for next year, possibly pulling fourth quarter, but not sure. And then there is a request that's been in now since I talked to Chris for two to start immediately. I contacted all appropriate administrators involved, so I wanted to make sure you have open line of communication going on, so I don't want to play behind anyone's back. So, and been communicating on a regular basis with people, and the parents are just interested in our math programming in our district. And I think what it is that we offer algebra, so all 7th graders take pre-algebra and all 8th graders take algebra. And if you are in that advanced tier as an 8th grader, then you can move into the geometry, the accelerated geometry as a freshman up at the high school. So I think that's one of the caveats that the parents are interested in, which aligns with the math and the Common Core and the work we've been doing with the math programming at Fox River.
Do you see any objection?
No, I'd like to help out any kids that we can help out, and if that parents feel that that's where they'd like to service their kids, I'm more than happy.
They would furnish their own transportation.
Yes.
Would they be required to have laptops issued?
That's interesting. Did you hear what he said?
Yeah.
You and I talked about that.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Well, yes, no.
I guess what I would say is yes, but we'd have to talk about that with Mr. Heath because of the smart book piece, whether we can turn stuff into PDFs that the kids could access on their own computers at home. So yes and no, Paul. I'd have to do some work, look into that, okay?
What does
I do
St. Thomas use now?
I was just going to say, St. Thomas has,
iPads, I thought.
yeah, and maybe there's a way I don't know. We'd have to look at some creative things.
Have you talked to St. Thomas about these requests?
Yes, yep, I've been in communication with the principal.
What is their feeling on this?
The principal is working and has been meeting with the parents.
I just wondered about the logistics of the school day. We couldn't put the parameters on, we get to do our math at this time because that's when they can get here, things such as that. So, or if there's field trips or things that disrupt that, how maybe, there's a lot of logistics that come to mind regarding how to address that. So.
I think the parents are willing to make the adjustments on their end to accommodate what we have. And then when the field trips and things occur, just like when the 6th graders come up, we are flexible working with the other school. And I've always worked very well with Pam down at St. Thomas, and I mean, I would continue to have that open dialogue with her and so forth. And I'm positive, I mean, I'm not positive, I'm confident that we would have that open dialogue taking place between her and I.
Is that new state law for homeschoolers was covered?
Up to 2 classes,
Okay, any class?
yes,
Yes,
as long as there's space,
Even art?
yes.
yeah.
Okay. Well, we have to restrict ours to availability.
Correct.
You don't want all of a sudden 15
Correct.
kids from St. Thomas coming over here, we have to have an open session.
That's
Right.
true.
I do not like the idea of us paying for the technology portion of it. So far as maybe their parents need to supply the laptop if that's what we're using. I don't see us purchasing a bunch of laptops for St. Thomas. I mean, we don't get a nickel out of the state.
No, we wouldn't.
I do like the idea of sharing our resources if we have availability. Obviously, it's better for the students. But I would restrict, I think, the other schools, which this would be another school, I would restrict it to science, math, possibly English. I don't know that I would open it up completely, whereas we're now having our arts classes open because our art classes are the draw in the first place. If they want 3-4 classes from one per grader, they should be going one per grader. And we should be at least getting money out of the state to pay for supplying those.
I think we should put 1 or 2 on it, yeah, just like we go with homeschool.
Mary, do you remember when we checked, was that last week or 2 weeks ago? We wouldn't get any, we wouldn't be able to claim the kids as far as aid purposes, correct?
Nothing's part of that.
Right.
And mixed emotions about this.
That's why it's here, honestly. because it's-
In the past, we haven't turned down students before,
Okay.
especially homeschooling students.
I would, I had mixed emotions. One, when I want to help kids just like Darlene wants to. I don't want to set a precedence that then we use from here on in. If, rather than having the policy in place, if this is a singularity that would happen until the rest, the end of the school year, and stated as exactly that, this is an exception to what we normally do. If we have room for it, if we can work out the technology end of it, I'd like to see those students succeed, and then more than likely they'll be at the high school.
Two of them are 7th graders, so they would start now as 7th grade, finish as 8th grade, and then another family is requesting to start as 8th grade next year.
So,
So we're looking at the potential of 3 8th graders next year coming from St. Thomas up to our program. I've talked to the families about just enrolling in our district. One of the families is moving their younger children into our district, but because of the 8th grade and they've been together since kindergarten as a unit, the parents, from my understanding, once again paraphrasing, they would like to keep their child with that unit of friends since kindergarten before going to the high school, but they would just like to access our math. But the one family is, I think it's a 3rd and a 5th grader, they're moving those kids into our district. And they are our district, so it's not an open enrollment situation, but they're going to be leaving the private school and moving to our school with their younger elementary children.
So the family that wants to bring the 8th grader in next year will not have the benefit of pre-algebra before moving into algebra.
Right, so we'd have to take a look at where they are with their MAP scores, and the families have provided me with their MAP scores because they do MAP testing down there, and then we would place them either in our Algebra 1 or the Algebra 2 class, and then that would take them to the track for up at the high school. And I shared all that with them, they're aware of that.
I think we should put a policy in place, allow it, but we have to set parameters, maximum of 2 if there's space. That's what I feel.
And they have to supply the technology possibly, not that we.
Yeah, that's
Again, I
it.
would stick to core courses, I would not stick to.
Well, right now, we don't have room in the arts. I mean,
Well, that's what I'm
you know
saying.
that, well, music and
That's
art
all
are
art.
real.
Right.
Yeah, I can see the board, yeah.
Especially choir.
Yes, well, band too.
Band,
Yeah, band.
and physical art.
yes,
Right.
art,
Yes.
So
Yep.
that's where I'm thinking we need to limit it down to maybe math and science to start, no more than that. English. but,
we could accommodate ELA,
but-
yep, yes.
So, or something.
Okay. What I'll do then, with permission from the committee, is I'll adjust this policy to reflect the sentiments.
Because it already says 2 classes.
Right. Okay.
I'm good with that. I just, under here on the sample policy 2, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's just because it's sample, but it talks about the district is able to receive additional state aid and or is entitled under state law to receive a payment associated with the student's attendance.
What page you on?
3 and 4,
Thank you.
policy 424.
Yep.
So I didn't know if that, like, it's just outdated sample, but it says 2013. So I didn't know if that's just something else to look into further.
Okay. Well, look. Thank you.
So we suggest we bring it for our first reading.
Yes.
All right. I guess we'll hopefully get a good, closer reading. That's it.
Is it worth having it come back? I know that families requesting it now, but is it worth, because it's, we haven't seen it at all, have it come to committee again?
You can do that.
Would that be? okay?
Sure.
Is that going to be a problem with getting holding students?
Well, I guess
So
if,
when I hold them back.
if I would like to get those kids into the, if we're gonna let them in the building, I'd like to get them in there as quickly as we can. I mean, we're nearing, getting halfway through third quarter, and I'd like to, if they're coming, I'd like to let the parents know so we can move them.
I would agree, but there needs to be like a written statement saying, this is in lieu of a policy
Yeah.
at this time, and this is a,
Okay.
a one-time issue. This is not to be reflective of anything in the future.
While we're developing policy or
Around
something for
precedent
future.
setting.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
Non-precedent setting.
Is that acceptable then?
Yeah.
That's what I'll
And then
draft.
this will come back to committee
What
for
though?
the policy
Policy.
draft.
Yes.
Okay.
I'll communicate that out to both families tomorrow then.
And I'll draft a letter then.
Okay, yep, perfect.
What else?
Thank you very much.
Your motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Oh, come on.